a team that wasn't ready to go in there and compete, I suppose.
Yeah, they weren't interested in winning the game. They were interested in keeping it close and not getting the doors blown off. That's what they were interested in doing.
Yeah, trying not to lose and praying to God that the other team makes enough mistakes that they can stay in it at the end and maybe steal it. That's what it felt like to me.
And, it's not just – well, no, it is mostly not going for it on 4th and 3. It's the play call on 3rd and 3, as Greg Olson sort of pointed out. If you were aggressive, you run it on 3rd and 3, and then you throw it on 4th and 3, or, whatever. You play for the 2 downs. They obviously didn't. And then they do the stupid thing where they're trying to draw the offense offside again, man.
Drives me bananas.
And I'm pretty sure he was under center, which is like, we know you're not running it. Why are you under center? That's what a bad fake that is. It's like we're going to line up under center and hard count you on 4th and 13, which isn't quite as bad, but in the NFL nowadays, it might as well be. 4th and 3 is a throwing down. You're not under center on 4th and 3. Who does that anymore?
Nobody.
Unfortunately, but no one does that anymore. So it's 4th and 3 and you're under center and you're hard counting them? Idiots.
And they did it week 1, too. It's like it's so obvious. It's so obvious, especially once he does it once, and it's like, oh, here we go. Like, they have no intention of going for this because they don't have the sack.
Sorry, correct me if I'm wrong. The game sheet said run formation. He was in shotgun on 3rd and 3. I want to say he was under center on 4th and 3.
I think he was. Because I remember Brissett being right over the center's back. Right at the line of scrimmage, everybody was bunched up. Like, the whole thing is just, when I watch them, I feel like I am watching remedial football. That's how I feel. Like, it is just the basic of the basic. Okay, this is called a handoff, fellas. We're going to hand it off. We're going to throw sideways. When we get up to the line of scrimmage, we are going to pretend that we're going for it. So we're going to line up and make the other side think we are and see if we can get them to jump offside.
So it's hard to know where to begin, but I just begin with a team that's just not ready. Just not prepared, not coached, not ready to go. I thought they would be that team.
They had extra time, Mike. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So it's a given they don't have as much talent as San Francisco. One place stands out more than another that proves that point. It's when George Kittle treats the rest of them like Godzilla attacking Tokyo. Just, ball mine, squash everyone else because you're all tiny, get out of my way. They don't have that kind of talent. But 10 days, and that's what you get? You need a lead, you dummies. 4th and 3. Let's be conservative. Ooh, let's try to draw them offside. Oh, yeah, they're probably going to really fall for it, you dummies. You have to desperately get a lead because once you're down big, you're done. And by big, I mean like 6 points because it kind of felt that way when they're down 6-zip. And then it gets to double digits. Forget it. They have no chance. But that Ramondre Stevenson fumbling again, you didn't try to hammer that home? 3 straight games. Please don't fumble the 4th game. That thing was, come on, like that. There's no edge defending. Once they actually kind of got in it to make it, 20-10, the first play from scrimmage for the Niners bombed down the middle of the field. Like, where was the preparation there in terms of maybe looking for a big play and the Niners getting right back in it and shoving it right down your throat? They're just not, it's like you said, remedial football. I get it. They don't have a lot of talent. They're not going to win a game like that against a team that's more talented than them. They can be closer, but they weren't yesterday because they're just, it's time to start dumping on Jerod Mayo. He didn't have them ready yesterday.
Yeah, and again, I know we've done our share of Van Pelt too, but that offense is really a joke. It is. It's a joke. It is as I was going to say primitive or it's simple. Use whatever word you want.
Lacking innovation.
Oh my gosh, it is so simple. It is such a simple offense, and I'm with Murray in that. I thought the most defining moment of the day was after they made it 2010. Okay, here you go. Now you're back in it. Now you get a chance. You get a long field goal at the end of the half. They fumble the kickoff. You go in. Boom. Here you go. Now get the ball back. Even a field goal. You're within 1 score. Okay, here you go. 4 plays, 70 yards, minute 57.
So now you're talking about the Patriots defense.
Yes.
First play, Samuel right over the top, uncovered.
Right. Like all of a sudden, and the defense is supposed to be the strength of the team.
They kind of stink too.
The Niners toyed with them. They toyed with them. And they're not even right. They're not playing their best. They just went, we get a score here. Okay, boom, 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 touchdown. But we're up 17 again. Now what? Like, that to me was the defining moment. Because the rest of it, like, okay, fine. But now you got a little, you got a little behind you. And then you get to that spot, 4 plays, 70 yards, minute 57, and as you said, a bomb on the first play. We're right in your territory. Here we come. Oh, that was emasculating.
So I'll start with the lack of urgency on offense, though. Again, 4th and 3 opening drive. They don't go for it. It's half-hammed, just the way they try and draw him off sides again. It's sort of sad. 4th and 3, and he's under center. Like, no, you're not going to get him there. And then when they do go for it on 4th and 1, now they're down 13-0. This is after the Warner interception return for a touchdown. They go for it on 4th and 1, but they call timeout, and then it's right up the middle with David Andrews out of the game. They're their backup center in the game. And the Niners are loaded up in the box, and you run it right up the gut after you had called the timeout. And it's sort of like, I don't know, that whole thing, too. I actually thought they should have kicked it there. I would have taken the points, frankly. But if you're going to be aggressive, you're going to be aggressive. But that play call coming out of the timeout, like, boy, remedial, as you would say, Mazz. At the end of the first half, Brock Purdy put the ball on the ground. They didn't call timeout. The clock ticked. The Pats ended up getting the ball and getting points because of the 64-yarder. But either way, they didn't call timeout when they had a chance to stop it with San Fran coming out of their own end. And then the one I hated the most was after Peppers had that interception in the end zone. Early fourth quarter, it's 27-13. Okay, 2-score game. Again, are you playing? Are you trying to win this game? Are you trying to do anything? So, again, another little inflection point, a little momentum. End zone interception, keep it 27-13. And they come out and they huddle up twice.
Yep.
Stevenson runs it twice, right up the gut, with them huddling. No pace, no tempo, no urgency. Guys, you're down 2 scores here. It's the fourth quarter. You've got to now move. Got to go. Nope. Run up the middle, huddle. Run up the middle, huddle.
And Joe Davis and Greg Olsen were all over this, too, and rightfully so.
They were.
You'd want some tempo here, you'd think, and it did. It felt so glacial, like dummies. Like, it's 10 and change and running. Like, you got to speed this thing up, and they just didn't do it.
The definition of minimize the damage. Really, the definition of it. No, we don't want to go too fast.
I mean, seriously.
And so, I'm sorry to cut you off, but what do you think that was? Is that they don't want to go fast because the sucky offensive linemen aren't ready for the pass rush?
I'll tell you what I think. I think that when they did this last year, it was Belichick managing defeat. Make his kid look good on defense, or I don't know, appearances. Like, I felt Bill was doing that. I just sort of think Van Pelt is just
clueless.
Yeah. Well, I think he's just a paint by numbers. It comes across as conservative, but it's just lacking in imagination or innovation or any sort of urgency or anything. I mean, they've run like maybe 2 or 3 offensive plays all year where I thought, okay, they put a little something into that. One of them was yesterday. That lateral play was a really cool little play.
They got boned on that.
And then they got boned. The ref screwed them. They should have let that stand. And then I think it was the week before where the little pitch play to Pop Douglas out of the backfield. Was that in maybe New York? I can't remember when it was. But there's only a couple plays where you say they put someone in a different spot. They put someone in a motion that stressed the defense, that showed some innovation. So why didn't they come out with more tempo or urgency on that possession? Because I just think Van Pelt is just
stuck in 2003.
One step at a time. Very simplistic offensive coordinator with a very simple offense, and it's just you don't even think about it.
Yeah, look, and Murray, you say 2003. I go to 1983. Like, I don't even think that it is so just ordinary. It is so ordinary. It's not even ordinary. It's not up at the times. Yeah. It is like watching a high school team. It's like watching a high school team hand it off, and then on 3rd and 8 go draw play. Like, really, and by the way, I'm just I'm dumping out my head. The team that wants to be the best screen team in the league sucks at screen passes. They suck at it on top of it. They can't even run a screen. Not a good one. How many times did they try to run a screen and it sucks?
I can't remember many good ones.
Oh, my gosh. It's so bad. Their offense is so bad. It's coached poorly. That's the part that's annoying.
So that's where I kind of want to start. Like, the roster blows. They have no talent. If we start with the problems on the team and we're handing out, the blame pie thing, it starts with Elliott Wolf going up to ownership. They've cut too many corners. They've cut too many corners on the roster. They've cut too many corners on the staff. That's a front office ownership problem. That's where I start. But we know that. What's fresh is yesterday and then how they managed the game and the coaching staff and how they were prepared and how they handled this game. And there should be a lot of problems there. Or you should have a lot of problems with it. It feels like they both stink. You sort of felt the first couple of weeks, okay, Mayo was going to get something out of these guys. And whatever talent they had, they'd be able to maximize it or at least come close to it and be in ball games and be competitive. And you look at that team and say they're getting the most out of what they have, which isn't much. Right? That was the hope. That was like that was the bare minimum hope.
Definitely.
And it's gone the other way. It's gone that other way for, I call it like 9 quarters, the end of that Seattle game into the last 2. And is the coaching going to be as bad as the talent?
It's starting to feel that way.
I mean, that's what I thought in the offseason.
Yeah, it's starting to feel that way.
In the offseason, that was my take, is that the staff has cut way too many corners on the staff, not inspiring on the hires, and this is just not good enough. And you knew that on the players, but then the first couple of weeks sort of gave you hope. Maybe I underestimated the coaches. Now maybe we all estimated them properly. And the last couple of weeks is just sort of drives that home. Hey, this is your guy, Jerod. Or are you not in charge? Not your team. Okay. Well, I guess that's not your fault. So then who are you bitching about? Like, what did you think you were going to get? And these little shots at Van Pelt have been going on for a couple of weeks. I mean, it's just 4 games in. So, I mean, what did you think you were getting here? This is not some sort of like next level innovator. This is Alex Van Pelt. He's been all over the league. He's in his mid-50s. He's never been given this job. And so, while I'm no believer in Alex Van Pelt, I feel like he's becoming a scapegoat. Oh, Jerod, why don't you get in the offensive meetings and get the ball out of his hands quicker? You're the head coach. And so, like, now the finger pointing right out of the chute, I think looks bad on Mayo.
Well, I think it looks bad for all of them. The only thing I'll say about Mayo is I don't think he picked him.
Yeah,
right?
no, he definitely didn't pick him.
So,
but how's your defense, Jerod?
Well, so there's that. Absolutely.
I mean, that's your side of the ball. How's the containment been? You're setting the edge. You talked about it last week in New York. You drilled it into your players. Don't let Rodgers out of the pocket. Then he dances all over the place. And then you come in the very next week, and it's the exact same thing with Brock Purdy.
They have no discipline.
So, all right, yeah, I know Van Pelt's no great shakes. He's just a guy, obviously. I told you that on day 1. No problem. It's your team. Why don't you go into are you not allowed in the offensive meeting room? Why don't you go in there and tell them to get rid of the ball? Why don't you dial up the plays? So, like, this is starting to bug me a little bit.
It should.
How's the rest of the squad? It's not like the defense is doing its end of the bargain either. I mean, and you actually have players.
Yeah, and that to me, in a lot of ways, like one of the notes I made to myself yesterday is I expected the offense to suck. I expected the defense to bail them out. Early in the game, they did. Okay, but then the pick six, which isn't the defense's fault, but that drive when it was 20-10, 4 plays, 70 yards, a minute 57, and they get the 7 right back. That's all it took. Like, that was one to me where you go, oh boy, that was the worst development of the day. That one you had a right to expect more.
Okay, your thoughts, Alan in California. Lead us off.
Hi guys. So we're looking at 6 straight seasons that this team can't get a first down, no athleticism. How's this rebuild going?
It's pathetic.
Have a good one, guys.
Yeah, it's pathetic. It speaks to the organization, the entire organization. This is what bad teams do. They get bad and then they get worse. They don't. The good organizations, the good teams have one off year, maybe reset the books, draft, get their 1 draft pick, sort of reset the whole thing, and then they're back off and running. The bad organizations get bad and then get worse. And that's what you are. Thomas in Connecticut. Go ahead, Thomas.
Hi. Just a couple of comments. How do we expect the coaches to do anything with what they're working with?
My point. Okay? So his thing said offensive line. So Jerod Mayo comes out in that comment and says, schematically, we need to get the ball out of our hands quicker. Blaming the coach. He says now I'm paraphrasing, but it's easy to look at the offensive line and say, it should have been that. But there's ways around it. I mean, he's been pointing the finger squarely.
Definitely.
At Alex Van Pelt and not the guy that picked the groceries and Elliot Wolf. So, again,
they're not all on the same page.
Bad look.
He is ultimately right, but I am getting a little tired of hearing about the offensive line. We know it's bad. There are other ways, though. Schematically, it can work, and there's different ways to go around it. More play action, getting the ball out quicker, blah, 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 all of that. But they got to get all on the same page, which it's clear that they're not after that game and what he was saying.
There was one play they ran early in that game that I like when they got Brissett moving to his right, and it was like a 9-yard gain, something like that. Like, that looked like a real play. They would sort of be able to mitigate the pressure, get him outside, get someone open on the right side. And, so I expected more of that as the day went. There wasn't.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Mazz here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.